Welcome back to A Couple Threads. I'm Heather.
I'm Armand.
The theme I have for us today is wedding disasters.
Yes.
Those are always fun. First story coming from r/AITAH, 7 months old, titled, Am I the asshole for refusing to let my brother's fiance wear her late mother's wedding dress at my wedding? So, I, 28 female, am getting married in 2 months, and I have planned every detail down to the last flower petal. It's my dream wedding, and I've been saving and planning for years. Here's where things get a little tricky. My younger brother, 26 male, is engaged to his fiancée, Emma, 24 female, and she recently lost her mom in a tragic accident. Emma and I have always gotten along fine, but we're not super close. Anyway, her mom had a very beautiful, expensive wedding dress that Emma inherited. It means a lot to her. A few days ago, Emma came to me in tears asking if she could wear her late mom's wedding dress to my wedding as a guest. I was shocked because this felt off. Like, I totally understand that she wants to honor her mom, but I just feel like a wedding dress at someone else's wedding is not the time or place, especially since she knows I have a very specific theme, color palette, and vibe for my day. I told her gently that I didn't think it was appropriate, and she started crying, saying it was the only way she felt her mom could be with her during this major family event. She said she'd never get to see her mom at her own wedding, and wearing the dress felt like a way to keep that connection. I felt for her, but I held firm that my wedding wasn't the right time for that. Well, now, my brother is furious with me, saying I'm heartless and selfish, and a bunch of family members have started to take sides. Some say Emma's request is deeply sentimental, and I'm being too rigid about wedding rules, while others agree with me that it's weird for a guest to wear a wedding dress at someone else's wedding. Emma hasn't spoken to me since, and my brother says they're considering not coming to the wedding at all unless I change my mind. My fiance is supportive of me, but I'm starting to feel guilty because I know this is tied to grief, and I don't want to be the bad guy. Am I for refusing to let her wear her late mother's wedding dress to my wedding?
It's definitely sad, but she's not an asshole. If she obviously wants to wear, because they're engaged anyways,
Yeah.
if she wants to wear her late mom's wedding dress to her own wedding, then that makes a lot of sense. But wearing, this might be bad luck, I don't know the rules, but wearing a wedding dress that's not your wedding to a wedding cannot be good.
Oh, I agree. And that is the thing. She is engaged. She's going to be having her own wedding very soon. I don't understand why you would need to wear it for a different occasion first.
She's obviously grieving,
Yes.
but the time and place, and that's just not the time or the place
Yeah.
to do that. And OP doesn't seem like she's being understanding about it,
Yeah.
but in the end, it's her wedding, and I feel like if it was a different request, sure, but that doesn't make sense to wear a wedding dress to a wedding that's not your wedding. And I understand the circumstances, and like I said, it is sad, but just no.
I agree. And people get upset just wearing white to a wedding, much less an actual wedding dress,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you had a good point. It is bad luck, if your groom sees you in a wedding dress before your wedding day. They're both going to be at this wedding. He's going to see you.
Like I said, I don't know the rules behind that, but it can't be good luck.
No, I don't think so
Wearing
either.
a wedding dress to a wedding that's not your wedding cannot be good luck.
I agree. Comments do agree with us. Top comment is, I don't understand why she just doesn't wear it to her own wedding.
Yeah.
Why would she wear it as a guest to someone else's wedding? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And pretty much the rest of the comments go on to agree. A lot of people are saying it's probably because of her grief. She's using it as therapy. But overall vote, is not on this one.
Yeah, I agree. She really isn't.
Yeah. One last thing on that, when it's your wedding day, you make the final say so, regardless
Yes.
of if it's anything. If it's an outfit choice, if it's not a wedding dress, you still can say, no, I don't want you to wear that.
Like, I feel like if it was her late mom's bracelet and was like,
That's a
do you
different
mind
story.
wearing this? Like,
Yeah.
it'll mean a lot to me. That's a different story.
I
But a
agree.
whole wedding dress is, you're sorry, but you're pushing it. Yeah.
I agree. Our next story today, this one's coming from r/am I the asshole, 2 years old, titled, Am I the asshole for having a dry wedding and only serving water for drinks?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, my husband and I are getting married later this year. Each of our sides of the family are fairly big. It will be around 100 to 150 people total. My husband and I are paying for all of this ourselves, as well as my grandma, who said she doesn't care one way or the other on the issue. She just loves weddings. We have lots of kids in our family, so we decided against making it child-free, but we did decide to make it dry. So there will be no alcohol of any kind at our wedding. Honestly, this doesn't have anything to do with there being kids, but due to the fact that my fiance and I don't drink. Nothing against people who do, it's just not for us, and we don't want to. On top of that, we only really drink water. We rarely, if ever, drink soda, so most of the time it's only water with the occasional juice or milk. We don't even drink coffee. So obviously the food, which is a part of what my grandma is paying for, is going to be expensive for that many people. We are having our wedding catered so everyone will have a good choice of food to choose from, but to only drink water, that will be the only thing provided. We don't want to have to pay for alcohol or soda. It is a large added expense where we could just do filtered water for a much cheaper cost. Well, when my family and friends found out, they got angry. Some didn't really care, but some got really upset about it, saying that I can just have an open bar so I don't have to pay for the drinks. We could, but we'd still have to pay for the bartender, and we just really don't want to bother with alcohol there. Or we should at least have soda, because how can we expect everyone to drink only water? The kids will be upset, the wedding will be boring, that this is not how weddings work, etc. So, am I didn't think this would be a problem. It's only water. I mean, I don't know, but most people drink water every single day anyway. Should we pay the extra to have soda just to make the family happy?
Not even a cash bar.
No, for real. You don't even have to pay for it.
Listen, best weddings I've been to was with an open bar. I understand they don't drink. Doesn't mean everyone else doesn't drink. Okay. And yeah, if you're just going to have water at the wedding, regardless of like soda or not, that to me, that's going to fall into the same like category in a sense. But a dry wedding, I mean, in the end, do you? But don't expect too much fun at a dry wedding. I could understand if they had past experiences where they're dry now
Yes.
because of who they are, fine. But if it's like, oh, we just don't drink alcohol, so that means none of you are going to drink alcohol, then you're just kind of forcing everything on other people. But in the end, it's your wedding, fine. But don't expect it to be a blast. Sorry. Kind of a hot take, but don't
No,
expect
I
it to be a
agree.
blast.
I agree. And I think like if it was a situation where they had a problem with alcohol in the past or something like that,
Yeah,
even having like fun mocktails is always an option. Like,
sure.
not everyone is going to be like, woo, water, like, so excited, can't wait for my water. Like, it's also when you're having a nice meal, like, hopefully it's a nice meal.
It better be. It
Yeah.
better be exquisite.
Most people want like, a little beer, a nice glass of wine, like even if it's not a wedding, like people want something fun to drink with their meal.
It could be like how I grew up because, you know, I've been to a ton of weddings and with our families, there was more alcohol than food sometimes, but they were the best weddings out there.
Yeah.
And you got to also realize when your guests show up and it's going to be like 100 to 150 people, they're not going to be made aware that there's no alcohol until they get there. So you're going to have a good amount of disappointed people.
Yeah. It also makes the like social hour part of a wedding very awkward because everyone's just standing around drinking water.
I mean, I don't want to call her, but like I said, she's asking, is it a big deal? And if it's not going to be a blast, I mean, chances are it probably isn't. Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, overall vote for this one is
One way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top comment is, I know that technically you could be in the right, but here's the thing about weddings. The marriage ceremony is for you and your fiance, but the wedding reception is for everyone you've invited. It's an event you're hosting, and not providing any drinks other than water makes you a bad host. I've been to dry weddings. There was a couple that put a real effort into designing mocktails themed around their relationship. It was delightful, and everyone connected to the couple through it. Another couple had a sparkling cider tower in place of champagne, and everyone cheered with cider, but you need something other than water.
Yeah, in the end, an open bar is going to be for people who do want to drink. I mean, if someone doesn't want to drink, they don't have to drink.
Right.
That's the option.
They don't have to go over there.
Yeah, exactly. But weddings are one of the few big social occasions where people will gather and drink.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I agree. And I think if it's a money thing, like, cut the cost somewhere else. I don't know.
I mean, look, I never planned a wedding, but I've seen the expenses for a wedding, and the dollar amount to put an open bar is worth it compared to the other stuff you're spending on.
It's a small piece of the puzzle in the grand scheme of things.
It's a very small piece, yeah.
For sure.
Subjectively, like with everything else, depending on the budget of your wedding. But in the end, every time I've seen an open bar, it is a smaller piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that has a bigger impact on the wedding, on the actual ceremony.
Yeah, and how people remember the wedding and...
Or don't remember.
Sometimes that's for the better.
Yeah.
All right. Next story, coming from r/am I the asshole, 4 months old, titled, Am I the asshole for bringing my daughter to my own child-free wedding? So, my husband, male 29, and I, female 27, just recently got married. We spent almost a year planning the perfect wedding, taking the right precautions, etc. One of our first rules that we decided was that it was a no-kid wedding. We wanted an environment where we wouldn't have to worry about children running around, getting into things, crying, etc. We made it very clear on our invitation that we didn't want anyone to bring children under the age of 14. We did, however, decide that we wanted to have our own daughter, 11 months old, and I wanted to hold her during the reception and photo taking, and then have a family friend drive her home and wait for a babysitter to get there before coming back. Before we settled on that friend, we asked a few people. One of the people we asked was my husband's close friend, Darren's wife, Jessica. She declined because she didn't want to drive, which worked out fine as we were able to find someone else. So, on the day of our wedding, after we told everyone several times about the no kids rule, she showed up with her 4-year-old. I was obviously taken aback, but I went to ask her about it. She told me that since I was bringing my kid, it was okay if she brought hers. Honestly, I was furious. I tried to stay calm and tell her that this was a child-free wedding and she can't let her kid run around, but if she took her kid home, she was welcome to come back. She started yelling at me about how since I had a kid, it wasn't fair that she couldn't have hers. Her son at this point was already climbing on things, as she just let him run free. I told her this was her last chance or she'd need to leave. She rolled her eyes, sat down in a chair, and just watched her son run wild. Eventually, her husband, Darren, convinced her to get the kid and leave, but it ruined the whole first part of the wedding. It's been a few weeks now, and I've been thinking maybe I was in the wrong. I said no kids at my wedding, but I did bring my own. A lot of people in my life are also saying it was hypocritical. So, am I the
Yes.
You think so?
It's hypocritical. It is. If your kid is pushing like the 13, let's say, because she said no children under the age of 14, okay, but you're bringing an 11-month-old, which all they do is really cry
I mean,
for the
yeah, but
most
like,
part.
that's
But
their own kid.
it's hypocritical. Then
You think?
at that point, you should be okay with everyone else bringing their kids.
See, I just don't agree at
Really?
all.
But
Yeah.
I am not surprised at the backlash that she received from other
Okay,
people
yes,
because they're
that
like,
part makes
okay, you
sense.
brought your kid. Then to me, it'd be like, okay, it's okay to bring my kid.
See, yes, but I feel like I've heard a lot of weddings that they say no kids, but then they have their
There's
little
always a
cousin or something
yeah.
that's a flower girl or like a part of the wedding. And I think it's like it comes down to how well you know the kids and how well you know that they're going to behave. And if she wants a picture on her wedding day with her baby and then the baby leaves after, like I
But the
don't.
baby never left though.
No, she did. She said we found a friend to take her home after pictures.
Oh, I thought she was looking for a friend and it didn't work
No.
out, so she brought her baby anyways.
No.
Okay.
She asked this friend originally. This friend said no, and then she found someone else. But after she asked this friend, that's when this friend was like, "Oh, she's bringing her kid, so I'm going to bring mine."
Okay, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, if she's bringing her kid just to take pictures
Yeah.
and then send them on his way, send the 11-month-old on his way, fine, okay. But I could also see why that other person was like, oh, she's bringing her kid. I can bring my kid now.
I get that. I just, to me, again, it goes back to on your wedding day, you can make whatever rules you want. You know, like it might be a little hypocritical, sure, but you
I
can.
just don't like hypocritical stuff. Like in the end, it's like if I don't want kids, there will not be kids.
Fair.
If I'm going to bring my nieces, for example, then at that point I don't have the right to be like, oh, they could come, but your kid can't come.
I guess.
And also, for the most part, because the weddings that I've been to have mostly been with kids, and when you say like no kids, a lot of people who have kids don't end up showing up
This is
because
true.
they have to get a babysitter. Sometimes they can't afford a babysitter, or they just don't know anyone, and they're just like, we're not gonna go. Most of the times when people do bring their kids, they're there for like a few hours and then they leave because the kid falls asleep. Are you
Yeah.
gonna have like one or two rascals running around? Sure, but in the end, that's the give and take.
I feel like too, the fact that her own daughter is 11 months old. At 11 months old, okay, sure, you can cry, you can make a scene, but you can't really be running around, you can't be physically destroying things. I don't know.
Every age has its thing, but this just comes down to either you allow kids or you don't allow kids. But if it was purely for taking pictures
Yeah.
and then that's it, okay, that I could get behind. I would say not.
Yeah.
But if she ended up bringing her kid to her wedding and then she got upset that someone else brought her kid, I'd be like, you are being a hypocrite.
That's understandable. Top comment though is not the your wedding, your rules, and an unsupervised, unrelated 4-year-old is very different to the bride's own 11-month-old. And I agree. I do think one, the age gap, and again, how close you are with the children does make a difference, but you can't pick and choose either. Like you said, you can't just be like certain kids are allowed, but certain kids
Because to me, that's how I'm viewing it. It's like, imagine like, let's say it's not even your kid. Like, oh, my nieces could come, but your kid can't come because it's like, okay, what's wrong with my kid?
Yeah.
No,
and
the main thing about this is it can cause issues just like that.
Yeah. True. You have to be firm on your stance one way or the other.
Yeah. And you know me, I'm either here or here, so.
All right. Next story. Also coming from r/am I the asshole? 5 months old, titled, Am I the asshole for refusing to attend my best friend's wedding after she replaced me as maid of honor because I'm too fat? In quotes, I'm pregnant. and asking her to pay me back for everything. I, 27 female, have been best friends with Claire, 28 female, since high school. When she asked me to be her maid of honor, I was thrilled and went all out to make her wedding special. I paid for the bridal shower, bachelorette party, decorations, and other expenses, spending several $1,000s. While it was a lot of money for me and my husband, I wanted to make her day perfect because she's like family to me. 2 months ago, I shared that I'm 4 months pregnant. Claire congratulated me, but started acting distant afterwards. She excluded me from conversations about the wedding and made passive comments about how hard it is to coordinate when people are distracted. I brushed it off, thinking it was wedding stress. A few days ago, she sat me down and told me she didn't want me in her wedding anymore. Her reason? I'm getting too fat, and she doesn't want me in the pictures. She said she has a specific vision for her wedding, and I no longer fit it. I was devastated. I asked if it was about my pregnancy, but she insisted it wasn't personal. She said she was replacing me as maid of honor with another friend who fit her aesthetic. I told her if I wasn't in the wedding, I wouldn't attend at all. I also handed her receipts for everything I'd paid for and told her she or her fiance needed to reimburse me since I'd only spent the money because I was her maid of honor. Claire flipped out, calling me selfish and accusing me of trying to ruin her wedding. She said it was tacky to ask for the money back and that the expenses for these were my responsibility as maid of honor. I reminded her that she removed me from that role, so those expenses were no longer mine. Since then, Claire, her fiance, and even her family have been spamming me with calls and texts. They're accusing me of being petty and overreacting because of pregnancy hormones. They're also saying I should have just let it go and written off the money because weddings are stressful, and Claire didn't mean to hurt me. My husband has been incredibly supportive and says I did the right thing. He's furious at how Claire treated me and agrees that I shouldn't be out thousands of dollars for a wedding I'm not even a part of anymore. I feel heartbroken and humiliated by someone I thought was my best friend. Still, the constant backlash has made me second guess myself. Am I the asshole for standing up for myself and asking for reimbursement?
No, absolutely not. First of all, messed up on Claire's end. You don't fit
aesthetic.
the vision. Whoa. Regardless, if number one, if she truly is your best friend, she would not care one bit whether you're fat or pregnant and or fat or pregnant, whichever one, you know. Number two, she has a really good point because the main jobs of like the best man or the maid of honor is to do things like the bachelor party, the bachelorette party, take care of that stuff. Whether it's portions of it or all of it, or however you want to see it. And the fact that after she removed her and she still had to incur those costs, yeah, she has every right to be like, okay, then pay me back for this because I only did that knowing that I'm maid of honor.
Right.
And because I'm pregnant and I don't fit your vision, you're kicking me out? No, screw that.
No, I completely agree. And I think that's just like really terrible friend because if my best friend told me a couple months before my wedding, hey, I'm pregnant, you know, I am so excited that when I look back at these photos, not only is my best friend there, but like she's pregnant.
She's pregnant,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, who cares what your aesthetic for your pictures is?
See,
like,
this is why I also hate the whole like, which I agree with, but you know, like the whole your wedding, your rules. Like it's stuff like this where no, in the end, you still have to regard people's feelings. Like, not that you should be overly sensitive about people's feelings. You know, if they're just being a brat, fine. But in this case, no, you're just being 100% messed up. And she has every right to ask for that money back.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think it's rude if you don't give her the money back, actually. Whoever this new maid of honor that you picked is should pay her back.
Yeah.
She wants the responsibility? Okay.
Because now she stepped in, she got the bachelorette party, she got the bridal shower.
She got it all just ready for her. All the work's done already.
For free. Yeah.
I don't like that. No. Let's see. Overall vote is not the
No.
top comment, not the in regards to when she said it was tacky to ask for the money back. This person is just like, bruh, get over it. And I really do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything wrong.
No.
No.
Not at all. And I
Sabotage the wedding.
show up even more pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People.
Weddings bring out the worst sometimes, I swear. It's worse than family dramas.
Yeah,
Like,
because
I ain't involved
you
in
have family, but then you also have the friends,
The
and you
friends.
have all the other emotions. And
Man.
I think there's so much money involved with weddings too that like
This
people
brings
get
out the
really sensitive about their finances, you know? Whether it's the bride, whether it's their family, whether it's in this case the friend, like
But this is why you shouldn't overly stretch yourself
True.
in weddings
Yeah.
also. Like, I get it. It's a big expenditure, but also
it's one day.
figure out what's going to stress you out more or less.
I agree.
And an open bar should not stress you out. Going back.
Or just a bar, period.
Or just a bar. Unless there's a bar across the street, maybe.
We ditched the reception.
Yeah.
Next story. Coming from r/AITH, 10 months old, titled, Am I the for banning my 5-year-old sister from my wedding unless she gets therapy beforehand? I just want to start off by saying I, 24 female, love my baby sister more than anything in the world. I drive a 3-row car because it was able to fit her and my other siblings, 9 and 7, and some of their friends. My fiance and I watch the kids after school every day, and they spend the night with us 2 to 4 days a week. My fiance is great with the kids, and they adore him. My fiance proposed 6 months ago, and when we told the kids, the 2 older ones were excited, but Evie, the 5-year-old, was furious. She started crying and hitting me because she wanted to marry him, and if I marry him, she can't. She refused to speak to me for almost a week, and now she's mostly okay, but gets mad at me and starts crying and hitting me anytime she sees me kiss him, hug him, etc. She was supposed to be our flower girl, but I really don't think she'll be able to sit through the wedding without some kind of outburst. So I called our dad, told him about all of this, and said that she won't be allowed to attend the wedding unless she starts seeing a therapist beforehand. The wedding is in September, so he has a couple months to get her into therapy. He's saying she doesn't need therapy. She's just a 5-year-old with a crush on my fiance. I'm overreacting and she won't forgive me if I exclude her from the wedding. Am I the for banning her unless she gets therapy?
Yes. She's 5.
Yeah.
She has a crush on your fiance. It's
I
fine.
had a crush on Zac Efron at 5.
How dare you? That's ridiculous. And you honestly think like a 5-year-old that goes to therapy for like a couple months or a few months is automatically going to be fixed and like not think about that stuff?
I feel like that's would make it worse. Like if you have to go to therapy because you have a little crush as a 5-year-old, like imagine when you're 16, like
You can't have any crushes.
Right, you start to get like a real crush and then you're like, I have trauma. I don't know if I can do this.
Listen, OP is valid in thinking like, okay, if she's going to have an outburst as a
Yes.
flower girl. This is something, in my opinion, where you should be, you talk to her and say, look, you're the flower girl. And you can talk to her like an adult. If you're going to have an issue or an outburst, then you can't be a flower girl. But I want to ban her from the wedding.
Yeah.
That's
Or
nuts.
make her go to therapy.
Yeah, or make her go to therapy. I'm with the dad on this. The
Yeah,
dad said it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with the dad on this one.
No, I agree.
No, that's ridiculous.
If
That's
she was
pushing it.
like 14, then like okay, maybe like you know better, like you
Even-
need to chill. But 5 years old, like your fiance is probably a cutie. I don't know.
That's nuts. No, I don't like that.
I agree. The comments are a little divided.
Really?
It's kind of 50-50 on
Okay.
people on her side and people against her.
Okay.
Let's see. Top comment is, I had a little boy who spent time with my family and had a big crush on me. He was very sad and angry when I got married. I told him that I'm much older than him, and by the time he is old enough to get married, I'll be a wrinkly old woman. I said when it's time for him to marry, I will help him find someone his own age who is a lot like me. He liked that answer.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a matter of there's going to be someone just like him, but your own age, you know? Like,
What about the people who on the other side?
I'm trying to see.
Because that was agreeing with, like, she's doing a little too much.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone is saying, if it's a matter of her causing a scene at your wedding, then yes, you do need to take action. Don't know if therapy is the answer, but something needs to happen. And then some other people are like, why is no one telling this child she can't behave this way?
But see, a lot so far from what I'm hearing is they're agreeing that no, you shouldn't just force them to go to therapy.
I agree.
Like there's other options.
Yeah. And that's what most people are saying. There are a couple people that are like, yeah, I agree. That sounds perfectly logical. But most people are like, there has to be a different solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one more story for us.
I like these today.
Yeah, right? This one's coming from r/am I 8 months old, titled, Am I for starting my wedding ceremony before my mom showed up? The day of the wedding started out as they normally do. I, bride, was inside getting ready, and final touches were being made outside. After I was almost ready, by noon, my mom had to run back to the hotel 20 minutes away to change and come back with my grandma and family friend. The invitation says ceremony at 2. As per usual, we were running a little late, but nothing crazy. Next thing I know, I'm walking myself down the aisle with no mom, grandma, or family friend in sight. The ceremony continues, and it's over before we know it. Still nothing. After 45 minutes, they finally show up. Then I proceed to go and tell them that it's over, and they missed it, and that 2 meant 2. My mother immediately became hostile and proceeded to blame the bakery for not having the buns ready. Then said they were stopped by a train, and my personal favorite was, it's your fault you didn't call or text to see where we were. Excuse me? Again, the invitation said 2. Also note, the officiant had another wedding to get to after mine, so it was a tight schedule. So, am I the for not holding up my ceremony? Side note, I found out the real reason why they were late. It was because she was not done getting herself ready, therefore holding up everyone. But she is mad at me because it's my fault.
No, I mean, I get it. She's your mom. And I figured that was the case. You're just making excuses. But in the end, a wedding's going to start when the wedding's going to start.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it is.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of back information, but this to me kind of seems like it's a pattern. Because if it was a one-time thing, she probably would have called and been like, oh my gosh, mom, like, where are you?
True.
But if she's kind of used to, she's just always late.
Diddle-daddling.
Yeah.
Dilly-daddling.
Something like that.
No, it's true. And like, it's your daughter's wedding. Like, a little bit of extra effort to be there on time. On time meaning earlier, actually.
Right. Especially from what it sounded like, because she said I walked myself down the aisle. Like, I think she was going to have her mom walk her down the aisle. Like, you should have been there, been ready. Like,
usually the mom shows up with the bride at the ceremony. Like
if you
before
had
all
to
that
change,
begins.
bring your dress to the venue or wherever, you know?
Nah, she has no right to be mad.
Yeah, I agree. At the end, like, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the consequences for your own actions. And I feel bad that the grandma had to get wrapped into it. You know, grandma probably can't drive. She probably couldn't have drove herself there, and wanted to see her granddaughter get married.
Waiting for a train, though. Okay.
Just to find out it's a lie, too.
Yeah.
Overall vote is definitely not the on this one.
Agreed.
Top comment is, If she could receive a text, she could also send a text. It's not up to the bride or groom to keep track of family on their wedding day. That said, it was curious that no other family members, no other members of the wedding party, no wedding planner, etc., made an attempt to find out where the mother of the bride was when she didn't show up. Which, like, yes, especially if she was supposed to walk her down the aisle.
But she texted her. Like, the daughter texted.
No. When the mom came back, she said, like, you should have texted me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're an older woman.
Yeah.
Like,
And
responsibility.
what, you have to have a wedding planner text you to figure out where you are?
On your daughter's wedding.
Yeah. Just be there. How about that?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not.
No, not at all. Just, it sucks, but, you kind of learn who's going to be there for those important moments.
Yep.
Who's going to make the effort.
Throw it back to when I was almost late to my brother's wedding, though. I got there in time. I got there in time.
Oh, geez.
I was like 2 minutes late.
And I'm assuming you were up there with him, right?
Yeah. There was a train. A very long train.
Mm-hmm. That is all I have for us today.
Those are good today.
Yeah, I like wedding stories. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below any updates or stories of your own, too.